Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada, Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Gurudev, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. कलयुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। निताई गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. So we will start with Mangalacharan prayers. Or should we wait, Mansi Mataji? I think we'll start with Mangalacharan prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरम्। Hare Krishna to all the devotees. Thank you for joining today. Shobha Mataji, Hare Krishna. Uma Devi Mataji, Mansi Mataji, Padmini Haripriya Mataji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Hare Krishna. So what we will do, Mataji, we will read the shloka and the translation because some of the purports are very, very long. So we'll read only shloka and translation. Okay. And wherever there is explanation, we will discuss. Okay. Hare Krishna. Yes, Uma Devi Mata. Text
कृष्ण माताजी
121. Yes.
121 ओके। हरे कृष्ण। हरये ककरियाचा परम प्रमादा देहि भेदा ईश्वरे कैले अपराधा। Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You are in complete illusion, for you have distinguished between the body and the soul of His leadership, Lord Jagannatha or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is a great offense.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Mata. So as we all are aware that there was a Bengali poet who came to Jagannath Puri and he composed a nice poem on Lord Jagannath, and he has compared Lord Jagannath to be different, having a body and a soul. He has distinguished between Lord's body and the soul. So this is a great offense. When Swarup Damodar Goswami hears this, he is very angry and he is chastising him. So this is in continuation with that same discussion. He is saying to that Bengali poet that when one differentiates between the body and the soul of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he immediately becomes an offender. And Srila Prabhupada very nicely explains in the purport that only a conditioned soul like us, has body and soul different. whereas the Lord's body is Satchit Ananda. There is no difference between his body and the soul. But according to some Mayavadi fools, Prabhupada says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts a material body when he comes in this material world. That's what the Mayavadis think. However, Lord Jagannath or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are not ordinary human beings. So there is no distinction between the body and the soul. Even in the material world, his lordship retains his spiritual identity. Therefore, when Krishna came, even as a child, as a baby Krishna, he killed so many demons. And for that, he did not have to expand his form or become big. As a child also, Krishna is Krishna. He is the Supreme Lord because there is no difference between his body and soul. There is no difference like that for the Supreme Lord because he is Swarat. He is independent. His body is completely Satchit Ananda. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Also, Srila Prabhupada gives a reference from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 11, verse 38. Etad ishanamishasya prakriti-sthopi tad-gunaihi na yujjate sadatmasthair yatha buddhistadashraya. He says, Bhagavatam says that the Supreme Person has an eternal spiritual body. If one tries to distinguish between the body and the soul of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he commits a great offense. So this is what Swarup Damodar Goswami is explaining to that Bengali poet. Yes, Swati Mataji. Next
Hare Krishna
verse.
Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Ishvara. Unmute Mataji.
Ishvarera nahi kabhu deha dehi bheda.
Ishvarera nahi kabhu deha dehi bheda. Swarupa deha chidananda nahi kabhi bheda. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At no time is there a distinction between the body and the soul of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His personal identity and his body are made of blissful spiritual energy. There is no distinction between them. Purport. Shall I read purport, Mataji?
Yes, you can read. Mataji.
Purport. Lord Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaja, is Advaya Gnana. In other words, there is no distinction between his body and his soul, for his existence is completely spiritual. According to the words from Srimad Bhagavatam, beginning with the words Vadanti Tat Tattvavidas Tattvam 1.2.11, the absolute truth is always to be understood from three angles of vision as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Unlike the objects of the material world, however, the absolute truth is always the one and always always the same. Thus, there is no distinction between his body and his soul. His form, name, attributes, pastimes, therefore, are completely distinct from those of material world. One should know perfectly well that there is no difference between the body and the soul of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one conceives of a distinction between his body and his soul, one is immediately conditioned by material nature. Because a person in the material world makes such distinctions, he is called Baddha Jiva, a conditioned soul. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mata. So just like Srila Prabhupada explained in the previous purport, he says that to consider the Supreme Lord having a body and a soul is a material distinction, because the material conditioned soul, when covered with the material modes, thinks that there is a difference. But for the Supreme Lord, he can be understood in three different ways. That is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Even though he is understood in three different ways, he is always the same. He does not change. So there is no distinction between his body and the soul. And he remains complete and perfect in himself. Text 123. Shobha Mataji. Shobha Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I had
Hare
some
Krishna.
problem in unmuting. Sorry for the delay.
No problem. No problem.
Hari Bol. Mataji, usually five shlokas each devotees will read, Mataji, so that you'll
Okay.
have some continuity. We will follow that, Mataji. Hari Bol.
Okay. Okay, Mataji.
Okay, Hari Bol. Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. 5.123. Deha dehi vibhago yam ayam neshavare vidyate kvachit. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There is no distinction between the body and the soul of the Supreme Personality of Godhead at any time. Purport. Should I read?
Yes, Mataji.
This quotation, which is included in the Lahu Bhagava Amrita reference,
Bhagavatamrita. Laghu Bhagavatamrita.
Bhagavatamrita. Reference 1.5.342 sloka is from the Kurma Purana. Should I read the next, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. So you will read 4-5 slokas together. Is that what you're saying?
Okay,
Okay,
Mataji.
Okay, Mataji.
Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. What is the meter for this sloka, Mataji? It is not CC.
Nata param param yad bhavata swarupam anandamatram avikalpam avidhavarchaha.
Nantamatram avikalpam avidyavarchaha pashyami
Pashyami vishvasrijam ekam avishvamatmam
bhutendriyatmaka madasta upashrito asmi tat tatvayitam bhuvana mangalaya dhyani smanodhara shritam ta upasakanam tasmai namo bhagavate anuvidhema dhubhyam yo annatrutho naraka babhir asat prasangai. Sorry, Mataji.
No problem.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O my Lord, I do not see a form superior to your present form of eternal bliss and knowledge. In your impersonal Brahman effulgence in the spiritual sky, there is no occasional change and no deterioration of internal potency. I surrender unto you because whereas I am proud of my material body and senses, your Lordship is the cause of cosmic manifestation. Yet you are untouched by matter. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This present form or any transcendental form expanded by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is equally auspicious for all the universes. Since you have manifested this eternal personal form upon whom your devotees meditate, I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Those who are destined to be dispatched to the path of hell neglect your personal form because of speculative on material topics. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam reference 3.9.3 to 4 slokas were spoken by Lord Brahma. Haribol. Shloka 5.126 Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Kahan Purananandhaishwarya Krishna Mayeshwara Kahan Shudra Jiva Dukhi Mayara Kinkara. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Whereas Krishna, the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is full of transcendental bliss, possesses all 6 spiritual opulences in full, and is the master of the material energy. The small conditioned soul, who is always unhappy, is the servant of the material energy. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The living entity is an ever-conditioned servant of the material energy. Whereas Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the master of material energy. How then could they be on an equal level? There can be no comparison between them. His Lordship is always in a happy condition of transcendental bliss. whereas the conditioned soul is always unhappy because of his contact with the material energy. The Supreme Lord controls the material energy, and the material energy controls the conditioned souls. There is therefore no comparison between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the ordinary living entities. Shall I read the next, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Hari Bol. Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai. 5.127. Ladinya samvidhala sittaha satchida ananda ishvara swavidya
Ladinya samveda shlishta Satchidananda Ishvaraha. Like that you can say. Mataji.
Swavidya samrutho jivaha sanklesha nikhara karaha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller, is always full of transcendental bliss and is accompanied by the potencies known as Hladini and Samvit. The conditioned soul, however, is always covered by ignorance and embarrassed by the threefold miseries of life. Thus, he is the treasure house of all kinds of tribulation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. This verse is found in Sridhara Swami's Bhavardha Deepika, reference 1.7.6 sloka, wherein he quotes Sri Vishnu Swami.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare
So-
Krishna, Dandavat.
Hare
Hari
Krishna,
Bol.
Mataji. Thank you. So this explanation given by Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami to this Bengali poet distinguishes the difference between the Supreme Lord and the conditioned soul. And so many references are given from Kurma Puran, from Srimad Bhagavatam, from Bhavartha Deepika, so that it is clear and it is understood authoritatively that the Supreme Lord is Vibhu, or he is the Supreme Master who controls the material energy, and the material energy in turn controls the jiva, or the living entity. So the living entity can never be equal to the Supreme Lord in quantity, whereas the Supreme Lord is the person who is always in transcendental bliss. He is the Supreme Person. He is always happy in transcendental bliss, whereas the conditioned soul, being under the mode of ignorance and inflicted by the three miseries, three kleshas of the material world, is always under tribulations and sufferings, right? So, as long as the conditioned soul thinks he is separate from the Lord, he is always under the three modes. But as soon as he connects to the Supreme Lord, he also becomes blissful. So let us see text 128. Also, one more point Prabhupada says that Lord Krishna, being the Supreme Person, is always accompanied with Ladini and Samvit Shakti. That is the Chit and the Ananda potency. Whereas the living entity is always associated with ignorance, Agyan, and the material modes, three modes. Okay. Let us read further. 128. Chandana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
शूनी सभा सादेरा चिते हाइला चमत्कारा सत्य कहे गोसाई दुनारा करिया चे तिरस्कारा. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hearing this explanation, all the members of the assembly were struck with wonder. Swarupa Damodara Goswami has spoken the real truth, they admitted. The Brahmana from Bengal has committed an offense by wrongly describing Lord Jagannatha and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes, read
one.
up to 132, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Text 129. Shuniya kavira haila lajja bhaya vishmaya hamsa madhye bhakaya che kichu nahi kaya. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. When the Bengali poet heard this chastisement from Swarupa Damodar Goswami, he was ashamed, fearful, and astonished. Indeed, being like a duck in a society of white swans, he could not say anything. Text 130. तारा दुःख देखी स्वरूपा सदया हृदया उपदेश कैला तारे आईचे हितहाया. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Seeing the poet's unhappiness, Swarupa Damodara Goswami, who was naturally very kind-hearted, advised him so that he could derive some benefit. Text 131. Yaha Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavera Sthane Ekanta Ashraya Kara Chaitanya Charane. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If you want to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, he said, you must approach a self-realized Vaishnava and hear from him. You can do this when you have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Mataji, you can read text 132.
Yes, Mataji. Text 132. Chaitanyera bhakta ganera nityakara sangha tabe taja niba siddhanta samudra taranga. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Swarupa Damodara continued, associate regularly with the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for then only will you understand the waves of the ocean of devotional service.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. So, even though Swarup Damodar Goswami chastised this poet and refuted what he was trying to prove, by doing that, he did not agree with the concept or with the philosophy that he was posing, but as a person, he did not hate him. So this is very important point to be noted, that when we are interacting with others, when we are in preaching, so we may not agree with the philosophy, that wrong philosophy that people may pose, but we should not hate the person. So even though Swarup Damodar Goswami chastised the poet for what he had committed offense against Jagannath and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by giving a distinction between their body and soul, he gave him the right understanding that the Lord's body is transcendental. There is no difference between his body and the soul. But at the same time, he was very kind-hearted to him. And he said, even though you have made this offense, you can rectify by associating with devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu regularly. And then you will understand the different waves of the ocean of devotional service. So Srila Prabhupada makes this very important point in the purport, that he says that Swarup Damodar Goswami instructs the poet from Bengal to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from a pure Vaishnava and learn from him. So it is not possible for us to understand the intricacies of devotional service on our own, just by reading Srimad Bhagavatam on our own. Or even Srila Prabhupada talks about the professional Bhagavatam reciters who conduct Bhagavat Saptahas, thinking that they can make a living through Bhagavatam. He says that by such hearing, one becomes pious, but one will not become completely purified. His heart is purified only when one hears regularly and sincerely, not once in a month, once in a year, but regularly. And from whom? Not from professional reciters, but from devotees, sincere devotees of the Lord. So, also he quotes the Bhagavatam shloka, Matirna Krishne Parata Svatova Mitho Bhipadeta Griha Vratanam. He says that those who are determined to continue their materialistic way of life, they will never awaken the dormant love for Krishna, for they hear the Bhagavatam only to solidify their position in household life or to be happy in family affairs or sex life. So, Bhagavatam should not be heard for one's material advancement. But when one hears Srimad Bhagavatam from a sincere devotee regularly, this awakens his real love for Krishna. And thus one becomes more attached to devotional service. Whereas those who are only hearing for some professional gain, for some material gain, their material attachments neither diminish nor do they awaken their love for God. So we hear in the case of Dundukari, right? Some of you may have heard the story of Dundukari and Gokarna. So Dundukari was a very, very sinful person. And when Gokarna, his brother, he kept Srimad Bhagavat Saptaha actually only for his benefit. Dundukari, because of his ghostly life, had become so implicated and so much affected and tormented by his condition that he heard Srimad Bhagavatam very, very attentively for 7 days and with the desire to go back home, back to the Lord. And he was meditating on what he had heard. So not just hearing, but what we hear, again and again remembering that and doing manan, chintan, smaran, that is also important. So because Dundukari was doing that, he went back to Godhead after 7 days. But all the others who were also listening Bhagavatam, they asked Gokarna, what happened? We also heard Srimad Bhagavatam, but we did not go back home, back to Godhead. Why did Dundukari only go? So Gokarna explained, because Dundukari's desire was explicit. It was completely determined, focused attention. He was hearing Srimad Bhagavatam only with the desire to serve the Lord and go back to the Lord. So this is how Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. Pratyaksha Krishna evahi. And he reveals, Srimad Bhagavatam reveals itself how we approach him. Just like Krishna says, what is that shloka from Bhagavad Gita? Krishna says that I reward them accordingly. As one approaches me, I reward them accordingly. Does anyone recall the shloka? Yes, yes. Ye yathamam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. Yes. So this is how Srimad Bhagavatam, being Krishna himself, also reveals himself, just like how we approach him. So Swarup Damodar Goswami says that only when you associate regularly with the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then you will be able to understand the waves of the ocean of devotional service, not just by being very scholarly and making commentary or making some comment on Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is a very great lesson for us to learn. We should be regular in our reading in the association of devotees. Yes, Mata. Sudha Mataji. You can read 5 shlokas, Mataji, up to 138.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranams.
Pranams.
Tabeta Panditya Tomar Hai Pesa Fala Krishne Raswa Rupa Lila Varnibha Nirmala. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Only if you follow the principles of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees will your learning be successful. Then you will be able to write about the transcendental pastimes of Krishna without material contamination. Next one, Mataji.
Yes, Mother. You can read up to 138.
Okay. Ye shloka kari acha paya santosha tomara ritayera arte duhaya lage dosha. Translation by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You have composed this introductory verse of to your great satisfaction, but the meaning you have expressed is contaminated by offenses to both Lord Jagannatha and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. तुम्ही ऐचे तैचे कह न जानिया रीति सरस्वती से शब्दे करियाचे स्तुति. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You have written something irregular, not knowing the regulative principles, but the goddess of learning, Saraswati, has used your words to offer her prayers to the Supreme Lord. Purport: Swarupa Damodar Goswami.
Mataji, you can read next text.
Okay.
We'll read only translations.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yaiche Indira Daitya Yadi Kare Krishnera Bharat
Bhartsnan.
Bhartsana sei shabde saraswati karena stavana. Translation by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. Sometimes demons and even Lord Indra, the king of heaven, chastise Krishna, but Mother Saraswati, taking advantage of their words, offered prayers to the Lord. Text 137. Vachalam balisham stabdam ajnam pandita maninam Krishnam martyam upashritya gopame chakrur apriyam. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Indra said, this Krishna, who is an ordinary human being, is talkative, childish, impudent, and ignorant, although he thinks himself very learned. The coward men in Vrindavan have offended me by accepting him. This has not been greatly appreciated by me. Text 138. Aishwarya Made Mata Indra Yena Mato Yala Buddhi Nasha Haila Kevala Nahika Samambhala. Translation by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. Indra, the king of heaven, being too proud of his heavenly opulences, became like a madman. Thus, bereft of his intelligence, he could not restrain himself from speaking nonsensically about Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Very
Hare
good.
Krishna.
Thank you. So as Swarup Damodar Goswami is chastising this poet, he is also saying that even though we may try to offend the Lord, still Mother Saraswati, she will make sure that even that offense turns into glorification of the Lord. So this is how Mother Saraswati is so great, that whatever we speak, the Vani that comes out of our tongue, that is used as a medium by Mother Saraswati to glorify the Supreme Lord. And he gives example of King Indra and many others, as we will see. King Indra during Govardhan Lila, when he had become proud and Krishna wanted to defeat his, or he wanted to purify Indra. During that pastime, Indra, thinking Krishna as an ordinary boy, he was trying to, what was he trying to do? He was trying to give ill names to Krishna. Vachala and what is that? Balisha, right? But Vachalam, Balisham, Stabdham. He's speaking all bad words, right? He's talkative, he's childish, he's impudent, he's foolish, he's thinking himself to be a very learned scholar. This Krishna, an ordinary mortal human being, he is taking shelter of the cowherd men, and to me he is committing offense, he is committing aparat to me, and this is not appreciated, right? So he is saying bad words, but what is Mother Saraswati taking those words as? Prabhupada says further, text 139. Thus Indra thought, Indra bale mui Krishnera kariya chinindana, tara I mukhe Saraswati karena stavana. Thus Indra thought, I have properly chastised Krishna and defamed him. But Saraswati, the goddess of learning, took this opportunity to offer prayers to Krishna. How does she offer prayers to Krishna? Sumati Suresh Mataji, please read 5 shlokas.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Vachalaka hi ye veda pravartaka dhanya, Balisha tathapi shishu praya garva shunya. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The word Vachala is used to refer to a person who can speak according to Vedic authority, and the word Balisha means innocent. Krishna spoke the Vedic knowledge, yet he always presents himself as a prideless, innocent boy. Text 141. Vandya bhave anamra stabdha shabde kaya yaha haite anya vijnana hi se ajnahaya. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When there is no one else to receive obeisances, one may be called anamra, or one who offers obeisances to no one. This is the meaning of the word stabda. And because no one is found to be more learned than Krishna, he may be called Ajna, indicating that nothing is unknown to him. Text 142. Panditera manya patra, haya pandita mani, tatapi bhakta vatsalye, manushya abhimani. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The word Pandita Mani can be used to indicate that Krishna is honored even by learned scholars. Nevertheless, because of affection for his devotees, Krishna appears like an ordinary human being and may therefore be called Martya. Text
Yes, thank you.
143. Thank you.
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So what Saraswati Devi takes this verse, what was spoken by Indra, is Vachala. Indra, although he said he is talkative, Saraswati Devi took it as, yes, it refers to a person who can speak according to Vedic authority. He talks only Vedavakya. Whatever he speaks is Vedic authority. And Balisha means, even though it is Indra meant as childish, but it is taken by Mother Saraswati as innocent. Krishna is innocent. He is prideless, innocent boy. And also, he says anamra. Anamra means he is not humble or he is impudent. But whereas one may be also called anamra when there is no one else to receive obeisances. Means there is no worthy person other than Krishna who can be offered obeisances, or one who offers obeisances to no one. So such a beautiful description. This is the meaning of the word stabdha, means one who offers obeisances to no one. He doesn't have to offer obeisances because he is worthy to be offered obeisances of all. And because no one is found to be more learned than Krishna, he may be also called Agya. Agya means there is nothing to be unknown to him. He knows everything. Then Pandita Mani means he is honored by the learned scholars also. Nevertheless, because of his affection for his devotees, he appears like an ordinary human being. That is why he is called Martya. So it is so beautiful that Mother Saraswati glorifies the Lord even through so-called abusive words. Radhika Mataji, 143.
Mataji. Jara sande kahe Krishna Purusha Adama Tora sange na yujimo yahi bandhuha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Jai. Thank you, Hare Krishna. The demon Jarasandha chastised Krishna, saying, "You are the lowest among human beings. I shall not fight with you, for you killed your own relatives." Perfect. In this verse, go to the, sorry.
Yeah, you can read, Mataji. It is a small one and Prabhupada explains the term there. Yes,
Sure.
you can read the purpose.
In this verse also, Mother Saraswati offers prayers to Krishna. The word Purusha Adama refers to the personality of Godhead under whom all other persons remain, or in other words, Purusha Uttama, the best of all living beings. Similarly, the word Bandhuha means killer of Maya. In the conditional state of life, one is closely related with Maya as a friend, but when one is in contact with Krishna, one is freed from the relationship. Yaha haite anya purusha sakala adama sei haya purushadama sarva tira mana. Translation. Mother Saraswati takes Purusha Adama to mean Purushottama, he whom all men are subordinate. Bande sabbare tate avidya bandhuhaya avidya na saka bandhu ha sate kaya. Nascence of Maya may be called bandhu because she entangles everyone in the material world. Therefore, by using the word bandhuha, Mother Saraswati says that Lord Krishna is a vanquisher of Maya. But everybody is entangled in the illusionary energy. But as stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.14, Mame vaye prapadyante mayame tam tarantite. As soon as one surrenders to Krishna, he is free from Maya. Therefore, Krishna may be called Bandhu Ha, the killer of Maya. Fine.
Thanks, Mataji.
Thank you,
So
Mataji. Hare
even in the case of Jarasandha, we see that even though Jarasandha tried to blaspheme Krishna, still Saraswati Devi, she used it, that Bandhuhan. Bandhuhan means one who destroys. Who? He destroys Maya, who is the friend of the conditioned soul in the conditioned state. So actually Krishna is the well-wisher of the every jiva. Even though the jiva is within the material world, the Lord never leaves the jiva. He is always situated as Paramatma. And thus, he is the real Bandhu. And the real Surid or real well-wisher, he truly proves himself as the Bandhu by destroying the illusion of the living entity. That is why he is addressed as Bandhuhan. 146. Swati Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Ei mata shishupala karela nindana seiva ke saraswati karena stavana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shishupala also blessed from Krishna in this way, but the goddess of learning Saraswati offered her prayers to Krishna even by his words.
Yes, Mata, you can read up to 152.
Yes, Mataji. ऐसे यही श्लोके तुम्हारा अर्थे निंदा ऐसे सरस्वती अर्थ सुनायते स्तुति भासे. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In that way, although your words is blasphemous according to your meaning, Mother Saraswati has taken advantage of it to offer prayers to the Lord. Jagannatha Hana Krishnera Atma Swarupa Kintu Ihandaru Brahma Stavara Swarupa. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There is no difference between Lord Jagannath and Krishna, but here Lord Jagannath is fixed as absolute person appearing in wood. Therefore, he does not move. Tanhasaha Atmata Eka Rupa Hana Krishna Eka Tattva Rupa Duyi Rupa Hana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus, Lord Jagannath and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although appearing as two, are one because they are both Krishna, who is one alone. Samsara tarana hetu ei icha shakti tahara milana kari ekata aiche prapti. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The supreme desire to deliver the entire world meets in the two of them, and for that reason also they are one and the same. Sakala samsari lokera karite uddhara gaura jangama rupe kaila avatara. To deliver all, translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. To deliver all the materially contaminated people of the world, that same Krishna has descended in the moving form of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jagannatera darshane kandhaya samsara sabha deshara sabha loka nare asi bhara. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By visiting Lord Jagannatha, one is freed from material existence, but not all men of all countries can come or be admitted here in Jagannath Puri. Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji. Thank you,
Krishna.
Dandavata.
Thank you, Mataji. So Jagannath and Lord Chaitanya, they are both same because they are Krishna. Even though Jagannath doesn't move, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared in the form of a human being. But still, because they are Krishna himself, they are both one and the same. At the same time, they're both, the mood of both of them is to purify the conditioned souls, patita pavana. That is why in that sense also they are one. And they have appeared to deliver all the materially contaminated people of the world. One is in the form of Daru Brahma and one is in the form of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Jagannath stays at one place, whereas Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is moving from one place to the other, but their purpose is to deliver the conditioned souls. And Lord Jagannath, even though he is staying at his Sri temple in the Jagannath Puri temple, he can free from the material existence anyone who comes to see him, to visit him. But not all men of all countries can come and visit him, and they are not admitted in the Jagannath Puri temple. So what happens? We'll see. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the same Lord Jagannath, in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, goes to others and delivers them. So this is how we will continue, text 153 onwards. Please read without repeating purport and translation by Srila Prabhupada. If the person is reading, first he can read, but first you can say Srila Prabhupada's purport, translation by Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, please go with the flow. Okay, humble request. Thank you. There are only 164 shlokas in this chapter, so another 10-15 minutes we can complete the chapter. Please read in flow. Continuation. Yes, Mata. Yes, Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranam.
Pranam, Swami.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu deshe deshe yana sabha loke nistarila jangama brahma haya. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, moves from one country to another, personally or by his representative. Thus, he as the moving Brahman, delivers all the people of the world.
Yes, so the same
One,
Daru Brahma, Lord Jagannath, sorry Mataji. So same Daru Brahma, Lord Jagannath comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he goes from one place to the other, delivering all the people. Yes, Mata, you can read up to 158.
Okay. Saraswatira artayai kahilun vivarana yeho bhagya tomar aiche karile varnana. Translation. Thus, I have explained the meaning intended by Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. It is your great fortune that you have described Lord Jagannatha and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in that way. Krishna gali dite kare nama ucharana sei nama hayatara muktira karana. Translation. Sometimes it so happens that one who wants to chastise Krishna utters the holy name, and thus the holy name becomes the cause of his liberation. तबे से ही कवि सभार चरणे पड़िया सभार शरण लैला दंते तृण लायना. Translation. Upon hearing this proper explanation by Swarupa Damodar Goswami, the Bengali poet fell down at the feet of all the devotees and took shelter of them with a straw in his mouth. तबे सब भक्ति तारे अंगीकार कहिला तारा गुना कही महा प्रभु रे मिलाइला. Translation. Thereupon all the devotees accepted his association, explaining his humble behavior. They introduced him to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. सेई कवि सर्व त्याजी रहिला नीला चले गौरा भक्त गणेरा कृपा के कहिते पारे. Translation. By the mercy of the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that poet from Bengal gave up all other activities and stayed with them at Jagannath Puri. Who can explain the mercy of the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Haribol.
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji.
So you can see how merciful is Swarup Damodar Goswami. Even though he chastised this Bengali poet and refuted what he had written, but he did not abandon him. He engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he inspired him to take the association of devotees. And this Bengali poet, he understood his mistake and he accepted the devotees association and fell down at their feet and completely changed his heart. He was transformed and he introduced, the devotees introduced him to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And by the mercy of the devotees, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because of the Lord's devotees, this poet gave up all other activities and stayed at Jagannath Puri. So this is how merciful are the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So this is our great asset, and this is our great responsibility. If we are calling ourselves Gaudiya Vaishnavas and representatives of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his mission, then this is our great responsibility to inculcate these qualities and to develop these qualities of being merciful, para dukha dukhi. So this is a Vaishnava's greatest quality, to give others what we have received. Can anybody remember any example where the Lord's devotees were more merciful than the Lord and they engaged the devotee?
Nityananda
Krishna
Prabhu.
Das Mataji.
Yes,
Tell
Kala
me.
Krishna Das. Yes, Nityanand Prabhu, of course. But Kala Krishna Das, although the Lord himself rejected him, but the devotees, they engaged him in the service which he can do, being away from the Lord, but at the same time be engaged in the service of the Lord, carrying the messages of the Lord from Puri to Bengal. Very nice. Thank you. So this is how the devotees are so merciful. They do not abandon anybody. Text 159 to 163. Somebody can read, please.
Hare Krishna.
Radhika
Ye-
Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna. Yeta kailun pradyumna mishra vivarana prabhura agnaya kaila Krishna katara shravana. I have thus described the narration concerning Pradyumna Mishra and how following the orders of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he listened to discourses about Krishna spoken by Ramananda Raya. Ramadhe Kailu Ramanandera Mahima Apane Sri Mukha Prabhu Vareyandra Shima. Within the narration, I have explained the glorious characteristics of Sri Ramananda Raya, through whom Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu personally described the limits of aesthetic love for Krishna. Prastave Kahilu Kavira Nataka Vivarana Agnahana Shraddhaya Paila Prabhura Charana. In the course of the narration, I have also told about the drama by the poet from Bengal. Although he was ignorant, because of his faith and humility, he nevertheless obtained shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Lila Amrita Sayara Eka Lila Pravahe Vahe Satashata Dara. The pastime of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are the essence of nectar. From the stream of one of his pastimes flow hundreds and thousands of branches. Shraddhakari ei lila yei pada shune gaura lila bhakti bhakta rasa tattva jane. Anyone who reads and hears these pastimes with faith and love can understand the truth about devotional service, devotees, and the transcendental mellows of the pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji. Krishnamurti
Krishna.
Prabhu, text 164.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी, प्रणाम
Hare
माताजी।
Krishna, Pranam.
श्री रूप रघुनाथ पदे यार आशा चैतन्य चरितामृत कहे कृष्णदासा। Translation बेसी भक्ति वेदांत प्रभुपाद की जय। Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunatha, always desiring their mercy, I Krishnadasa narrate this Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita following in their footsteps.
Hari Bol. Thank you. So, as we see, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami summarizes what he has told in this chapter. That he says that I have described in this chapter how Pradyumna Mishra, following the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he listened to the discourses about Krishna spoken by Srila Ramananda Rai. Then he also described about the characteristics of Sri Ramananda Rai, through whom Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally described the limits of ecstatic love for Krishna. And then also he narrated the pastime of this Bengali poet who, even though he was ignorant in the philosophy of the Lord, still because of his faith and humility, he nevertheless obtained the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through his merciful devotees. And the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are just like nectar, Amrit. But this stream of the nectar have hundreds and thousands of branches, so many pastimes. And anyone who reads or hears these pastimes with faith and love can understand the truth about devotional service, devotees, and the transcendental mellows of the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the Falashruti. This is what is the blessing that Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is giving, that anyone who hears this Chaitanya Charitamrit, which is full of nectar with hundreds and thousands of branches, he will have the truth about devotional service, devotees, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, transcendental mellows of his pastimes. These three things will be revealed to that person. So at the end, he always prays at the lotus feet of his spiritual masters, Sri Rupa Goswami and Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, always desiring their mercy. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami narrates the 5th chapter of the Antya Lila, and Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, ends the purport to this Antya Lila, 5th chapter, describing how Pradyumna Mishra received instructions from Srila Ramananda Rai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Pad ki jai.
Jai.
Sri Chaitanya Charitamrit ki jai.
Jai.
Samasta Vaishnava Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Pranams to all.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pranams.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Pranam.
Bol. Hare
Hare Bol.
Krishna.